If you've been looking for an all-in-one amplifier that's easy to use and sounds amazing, you've probably heard of the Bluesound POWERNODE N330. It's been a favorite here at Audio Advice for a while due to its clean design, amazing app, great sound, and just how easy it is to set up and start streaming your high-res music. However, that was released around 4 years ago, and Bluesound has now updated the POWERNODE and given us a brand new model, the POWERNODE N331. And while it might look the same from the outside, it's packed with some serious upgrades under the hood that we think will make this one of the most popular streaming amps on the market today. So let's dive in and discuss everything that's changed, why it matters, and help you decide if it's worth upgrading or getting for your setup. Let's first begin with the design and the build quality of this new POWERNODE. Like I said, at first glance, the N331 looks almost identical to the older N330. You still get that sleek, compact box in the same size with a minimalist look in either a black or white matte satin finish. The build feels really solid and well made, and there's a smooth glass top that lights up with a proximity sensor when you get close that has some touch controls. You've got 5 quick touch preset buttons, you've got volume and playback controls on top and mute, and you even have a headphone jack on the front. Now around the back, the ports are really well labeled and spaced, making it easy to hook up speakers, a TV, subwoofer, or other gear. And while the look hasn't really changed all that much, it's what's inside that makes the real difference. Now, one of the biggest upgrades is the new amplifier. The N330 used Bluesound's hybrid digital design with 80 watts per channel. It really did sound great, but the new N331 steps it up with a direct digital amplifier that uses special GaN FETs. Now, this is a fancy way of saying that it's faster, cleaner, and way more efficient. Now, GaN or GaN stands for gallium nitride, and it allows the amp to switch faster and produce less heat, which improves performance across the board. The power output has increased from 80 watts per channel into 8 ohms on the previous model to 100 watts per channel into 8 ohms with 2 channels driven on the new N331. Now, this gives the new model more headroom to handle a wider range of speakers and maintain clarity at higher volumes. Bluesound also improved the distortion and signal to noise ratio a bit too here, lowering it from 0.008% to 0.005%, and improving it from -100 dBA to -102 dBA. The result is a cleaner sound with less background noise and overall just a bit more detail. Now, another exciting upgrade in the N331 is the introduction of a dedicated 3-channel output mode. This allows it to power a left, center, and right speaker setup all on its own. In this mode, the amp delivers 80 watts to each of the 3 front channels, giving you a true front soundstage without needing a separate AV receiver or processor. For anyone using the POWERNODE in a media room, living room, or a bedroom with a TV, this is a huge win, and I love to see this addition. With the older N330, you were limited to stereo output or had to rely on wireless add-ons to simulate surround sound. That meant dialogue and effects were blended into just 2 speakers, which always sounded dramatically better than your internal TV speakers, but even with virtual processing, sometimes that center imaging could feel just a bit off, especially if you weren't seated right in the center. Well, the N331 fixes this by giving you a physical center speaker output. That means dialogue now comes directly from the speaker placed right below your TV, right where voices naturally belong. It makes a big difference in clarity and realism, especially when watching movies or TV shows. You won't have to raise the volume just to hear people speak because that center channel keeps voices anchored and easy to follow. Now, we actually have a full video on the best practices for setting up a center channel that I'm gonna link down below, and I recommend you watch it if you're setting up a center channel in your room. Now, since the N331 still supports HDMI eARC, allowing you to use your TV remote to control the volume, and has Dolby Digital decoding, the LCR setup integrates super smoothly with your TV. When the TV turns on, the POWERNODE switches automatically and delivers high quality audio across all 3 front, center, and left channels. Now, for a lot of people, this opens up the door to a clean and powerful 3.1 system. Just connect your left, center, and right speakers to the N331, and then go ahead and add a subwoofer using the RCA sub out, or you could even go wireless with the Pulse Sub Plus from Bluesound, and you have a killer setup. Now, the BlueOS or BlueOS app lets you set crossover points for the sub, helping you fine-tune the balance between your main speakers and low-end output. Now, adding a sub here doesn't just increase bass response. It actually takes the strain off your main speakers so they can focus on the mids and highs, resulting in better overall clarity and detail. A really good sub adds a lot more depth, punch, and weight to music and movie movie soundtracks, making action scenes more exciting and dialogue way more grounded. But what's even cooler about this is if you want to expand to a full 5.1 surround sound system, you can add a pair of Bluesound Pulse Flex speakers for wireless rear channels like you could with the old N330, or you could use a second power node to power passive surround speakers behind you. Either option gives you real rear channel performance without the need to run wires across your room. To make this work, the N331 uses the BlueOS bonded speaker link to create its own private wireless network between the main unit and the rear speakers, and this enables a stable, low latency connection that does not rely on your home Wi-Fi. Now, rear speakers will stay perfectly in sync with the front channels, which is especially important during fast-paced scenes, gaming, or anything with surround panning effects. Everything is managed right through the BlueOS controller app, making setup and adjustments super quick and easy. Now, I find this to be a big win for home theater setups in living rooms and family rooms or media spaces where you might find running wires a bit of a challenge. You get the flexibility to run a real center channel and expand to surround sound without the complexity or size of a traditional home theater receiver. And then when you pair that up with Dirac live room correction software, which we'll cover shortly, the results are just outstanding. Another big major improvement here is the headphone output. The N330 had a basic 3.5mm headphone jack, but the N331 gives you a full-size 6.3mm output powered by THX AAA technology. THX AAA stands for Achromatic Audio Amplifier, and it's designed to eliminate distortion and background noise. The result is an ultra clean sound with lots of detail and dynamics. Even with some sensitive headphones, we found that we were hearing so much more in our music and just less of the electronics that was behind it. Now, one of the most useful features in this new N331 that we found was the addition of a USB-C audio input, which makes it super easy to connect directly to a computer or laptop. This wasn't possible on the previous N330, and this opens up a whole new use case for desktop setups. You can now send a high-resolution digital signal straight from your computer into the N331 without needing Bluetooth AirPlay or a separate DAC. It's a great option for anyone who wants better sound from their desktop or laptop, whether you're using passive speakers, high-end headphones, or both. Now, they've also added a dedicated stereo RCA input for traditional gear like CD players or turntables with built-in phono stages, and unlike the 330, which had two 3.5mm combo jacks that could be used with either an aux cable or a Toslink adapter for optical input, the N331 includes a full-size Toslink optical input and a combo 3.5mm headphone jack. Now, just like all Bluesound products, streaming support is excellent. The N331 uses the BlueOS platform, which gives you access to over 20 streaming services, high-res internet radio, and your own music library. It supports high-res audio up to 24-bit 192 kHz and even now supports DSD-256 playback, which the N330 didn't support. That means if you have high-end recordings, you'll actually hear the full resolution. Now, you also get AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect, and full Roon-ready support for audiophiles using that platform to manage and stream their music. We're huge fans of Roon here at Audio Advice, and we were super excited to see the addition of that on this N331. Now, wireless connectivity is also better. The N330 used Bluetooth 5.0 with aptX HD, and this N331 upgrades to Bluetooth 5.2 with aptX Adaptive, which is faster, more stable, and adjusts bitrate based on connections for improved audio quality. Wi-Fi and Ethernet connections are still really strong, and the N331 also has something called local server mode, letting you stream music directly from a USB drive without needing a separate network drive. And with the NTFS support added to the USB-A port, it now works with more larger and common external drives. Now, another upcoming feature that we touched on earlier is Dirac Live support. This will come as a software update that you will have to pay for, but it will allow you to tune your speakers to your room for way better sound. That's something that the N330 didn't offer, and this puts the N331 in the same class as some really high-end AV receivers. Dirac is widely thought of as one of the best room correction softwares in the industry, and while it has a ton of features, we've made one of the most viewed guides in the world that walks you step by step on how to set up Dirac Live and use it and get the best results, even if it's brand new to you. I'll link that video down below. But suffice it to say that Dirac Live can make a massive impact on your sound quality in your room, and it's awesome to see that in an upcoming update for this N331. Now, also for smart homes and custom installs, this new N331 supports a wide range of systems. It integrates with Control 4, Crestron, RTI, URC, Lutron, and now even NICE, making it easier for integrators to fit the N331 into professionally installed setups. You also still get voice control with Amazon Alexa, along with with built-in IR learning and remote compatibility. Now, clearly, there are a lot of upgrades to this new POWERNODE, but none of that really matters if it doesn't perform well. So let's discuss what we experienced and heard in our testing. Our friends over at Bluesound sent us an early sample of this N331, and we have to say, it sounds better than ever. The new amp design gives music more punch and more control. Bass is just tighter and vocals are clearer and instruments have more space and detail to them. Whether you're playing quiet background music or turning it up super loud, everything stayed really clean and dynamic. Compared to the N330, we'd just say that the sound was more refined. The N330 already had a really clean, energetic sound, but the N331 improves on that by adding just a bit more nuance. You hear it mostly in the highs and the mids, where the sound feels more open and lifelike. And with its 100 watts per channel, it drives bigger speakers with just more ease. There's more weight behind each note, and the timing feels more precise. The headphone amp is also just a game changer. If you've got a good pair of wired headphones, the N331 gives you much better sound than the old model. It's detailed, powerful, and just super quiet. You can really hear the difference, especially with lossless or high-res tracks. There's more dynamics, better separation between instruments, and again, just a sense of space that makes that music feel a lot more alive. Now, when you put this in a home theater setup, the center channel output was amazing to have. Voices were so much easier to hear, of course, and better placed in the soundstage, and explosions and sound effects just have way more impact. When you pair it with a second power node and some passive rears and a sub, the 5.1 setup was super convincing and so easy to get set up. There's no lag or sync issues, and the whole system just feels seamless. For a living room or a media room where you can't run wires all over the place, this opens up the ability to have your own rear speakers, giving you an incredibly immersive 5.1 home theater experience. It's really just gonna allow you to pick the best 5.1 speaker system on the market for your room, regardless of the brand, and you're gonna get great surround sound in a tiny and flexible package with just 2 power nodes. Or for those of you who have the older power node, you could simply upgrade to the N331 for your front and then use your old power node for the rears, which is a super cool option. Now next, let's talk about day-to-day use. The BlueOS app is still one of the best out there. It lets you browse streaming services, group speakers, adjust EQ settings, and even control multi-room setups. It's just really reliable, easy to use, and it's available on iOS, Android, macOS, and Windows. And now with the album art support for both JPEG and PNG formats, your music library looks better than ever on the screen. Now, the big question here is, should you upgrade if you have the N330? Well, if you already own that one and you're happy with stereo streaming, the N331 might not be a must-have. But if you want better sound, a much better headphone experience, or the ability to run a full 3.1 or 5.1 home theater or connect it to your PC, well, the upgrade is well worth it, we think. And for a lot of systems, you could simply repurpose your N330 as the rears anyways. And the improved amp design alone gives you a cleaner, more powerful sound, and the added features make this system way more flexible and upgradable. So we think it's worth it. And if you're buying a power node for the very first time, well, you should definitely spring for the new N331, just because it's one of the best all-in-one amps that we've used, not only in terms of sound, but in terms of flexibility and upgradability down the line. It's super easy to use, it's packed with so many great features, it sounds amazing, works great with so many modern TVs, streaming services, and even with a desktop setup. It really is a do-it-all device that just fits about anywhere. We really feel that the N331 isn't just a refresh, it's a real step forward in what a streaming amplifier can be. Now, I went over a lot in this video about the new power node, but if you have more questions, drop them down below or visit audioadvice.com and call or chat with any of our experts. We'd be happy to help you out. Now, if you want to be among the very first to get your hands on one of these new POWERNODE N331s, you can get yours at audioadvice.com. I'll leave a link down below. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, hitting that subscribe button, and turning on the notifications so you never miss out on any of our exclusive content coming up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.